What do you hate about your job?
What do you hate about your job?
Yeah, because the answer is the same as Evalds. What could I optimize about your work life so that you love to be here?
Welcome to another episode of AI Ranch, where we discuss the wild west of AI. Today with me, I have my friend Igors Uhaņs from Ventspils. He is also innovation lead at Helve and the founder of SIA Shmia. And he is actually one of the creative forces of AI and very well-known experimenter here in Baltics. He has made AI-generated music, AI-generated celebrity recognition, right? All sorts of prototypes with the websites, apps, and most importantly, works with larger organizations to bring this AI era into existence. He also has coined the term innovation hygiene, so we'll talk about that, and all sorts of other interesting and useful AI-related stuff. Welcome.
Hi.
You've been known for working with Helve and providing the innovation sprints for larger organizations. What is innovation sprint, why it is needed, and for whom it is?
All right. So you're running a business. I am running businesses for a while now, and all of us, in some time, typically half a year, we have a cycle of struggles. Like, all right, for an entrepreneur, everything is a struggle, right? We struggle every day. Then again, for our businesses, we make something better time to time. And for us, it started maybe 5 years ago, maybe 4 years ago, with this innovation hygiene. So we knew about design sprints. Design sprints is putting your design thinking into a framework made by Google, written in a book in, I guess, 2014, something. So to make something new, you have to discover the problem, define it, what is it, then prototype upon it, test and validate it, and it's a cycle of this, right? So we did those before COVID, and then it looked like sticky papers on white walls, and just follow the framework, and at the end you get something new, and you can build upon that. So you just have to validate that this works or not. Then afterwards, with LLMs coming up and popping up like shrooms after rain, we noticed that using AI for text inputs, you can shrink the time of the sprint, which is an innovation sprint using design thinking, the same stuff. You can just cut out a lot of frameworks that you do not need anymore. On ideation phase, on prototyping phase, on validation phase, because you can validate with synthetic users, and you can shrink those 5 days into 3 days. And you can get not lo-fi prototypes that are like ideas on cardboards, but you can actually build apps that you can show to people in minutes. You can add a functional, database, which functions. You can get authentication, which functions, payment methods, which function in 1.5 hours, 3 hours, it depends on the project. So what companies need is always to optimize processes or to find new ways how to make money, right? And once I started working in Helve, then a very small portion of companies we worked with were actually thinking about delivering new products and creating new revenue streams. And most of them are saving resource, because AI lets you do that. You can create something that helps you.
Can you give an example of how after the innovation sprint, they started to save some resource?
All right. For example, there's a company which are selling houses like
Prefabs?
No. Those real estate agents. an agency of real estate agents which sell stuff,
Yep.
right? And for example, I want to sell something. I write them an email. Hey, I want to sell this apartment located there on this street, 2 bedrooms, 1 bathroom, something. So a human has to read that and restructurize this text into I want to buy, because they have to put this on their website. But the structure of seller and a buyer is a whole different mentality. So a person has to restructurize, translate into several languages, and that's done by hand. So when you are tasked with this, besides all your other jobs, and that lady was a office manager, so she has all her office stuff and this. So for this job to be done, first of all, what's happening? First of all, you have to come up with the idea. Now I'll be doing that. Once you do that, then you grab a coffee. Then you go to smoke. Then you go to get water. Then you start doing that because it's a tedious job.
You don't want to do it.
Yeah, and that, for example, you have to pop up in your WordPress site 4 flats. And you have to read sketchy text with grammar mistakes, something. You have to call people to find out something more, etc. So for them, what was done for a prototype, it wasn't an app yet. It was a year ago, maybe more, April last year. A GPT-4o Mini was input in spreadsheets. So, for example, spreadsheets, column A, you paste in your email output. Column B, C, D, E is generated based on your input in column A. So once you paste there, then in column B is a structured text in English. Then you have in Latvian, like translation from column B, then a translation from column B, but in Russian, and just different prompts, and that's in Excel. So for example, if you paste, I don't know, 10,000 rows, and in Excel you just drag the formula down, you get an output of 10,000 times 4 of what you need. So
nice, some kind of Excel plugin.
That saves time, but that's only a prototype, because what she would want to have is a WordPress add-on, plugin, plugin.
Okay, so the next step is how they then implement it so that they don't need to drag manually the formula.
It depends. For some people who are not that tech savvy, this copy paste is much better than they had before. Yeah, because they now have they made it themselves. Because my job is to enable the people to make stuff. They can ask questions, and if like 5 years ago somebody in my company would ask me a question, hey, how do I set up DNS in the cPanel? My question was, what did Google say? And now I ask them, what did GPT tell you, or Claude tell you, or whatever, Copilot. First, yes, it's annoying, but afterwards, on day 3 feedback session, they tell me thank you for this framework, because now I'm not bothering my colleagues with some stupid stuff.
Yeah, so you're getting there. Like I like this is a good kind of. It could be even we could write a book like AI patterns, right? How to use these widely available tools in a way that makes sense. I totally see the sense of using the spreadsheet and AI formula where you like repeat the same thing n times. Because of course, if I just feed all of this Excel to the ChatGPT, the result will not be as good as what you do.
Exactly, because every cell is just a container, and
exactly.
And if your formula is provide summary about E2, E11, E64, and you drag it, it's just a small prompt that is repeated.
It's not connected in one large context, and will not make as many mistakes. So that's a great example. But then, like I didn't hear exactly whom it is the best suited. Like, is it like some kind of larger organization? You work with smaller ones. What are the effects on after you finish?
Yeah, the effects are larger on more agile organizations. So if there's an office of 30 people, of which 5 come to innovation sprint, like 7 come to innovation sprint, and they are dedicated, they want to be there. and their boss has told them, "Hey guys, here's budget, 50 euros for each of you, and full trust that you have to experiment, you have to try." Then I don't know stuff about those companies. Like really, I do not. But I know what are the questions to ask for them
What
to
kind
tell
of questions you ask?
What do you hate about your job?
What do you hate about your
Yeah,
job?
because the answer is the same as Evalds. What could I optimize about your work life so that you love to be here? But if I ask you this one,
I
you're like,
will come up with some kind of fancy answers.
yeah, like I want to have a subscription to the pool and better coffee. But it's not the core, right? It's not the core of the business. But when you ask what do you hate about your job, then first of all, people think of a bunch of answers, and I always tell the C-level executives, you can make it anonymous. You do not care, but best if you like for optional reasons, tell that these people can leave who left the review. Because then you can ask them, how can I help you actually? But if you like, okay, let's take.
Wait. How long have you been doing this already? Like these innovation sprints? Year, 2 years?
5 years. It's 2025.
5 years.
Yeah,
Whoa,
yeah.
man. So if you heard a lot of things that people hate about their job, is there something common that people hate about their job?
Yeah, it's like repetitive tasks about emails. Every company.
Everybody hates emails?
Yeah, everybody hates emails. Yeah, everybody hates thinking. They want
Send
to
them
think
to
less.
me. I have email automation.
But the most bizarre of sometimes I get to see those because what companies want to do, they ask these questions, and before we start the sprint, they filter them out, and that's the best because, for example, they get 140 pain points, and if the company understands, okay, 60 of these we can fix ourselves, 50 of these are irrelevant, but about these some we have to 30 more we have to think through, yeah, and then we work with those.
What else are you jumped over it?
Yeah.
Like what other things that people hate about their job?
What are those 60 that are dropped off? For example, in a larger company, there was a pain point which was a duplicate for I don't know how many times, that either bi-weekly or once in a week on Wednesdays there may be no toilet paper in the toilets between warehouse 3 and 4. So that's a managerial decision that is a pain point which is simply solved, right? You can just call the.
You discover things which are not related
exactly.
with the actual exact work.
But then when you extrapolate it on a yearly basis for how many people this becomes a logistics problem, then you're like, okay, one call to the janitor, right? And you just solved something. So that's why I tell managers that you have to ask people what do they hate about stuff, not how can I help you do better.
I like it. Like in the Helvet, do you have also a culture inside where you ask each other what you hate about the job?
Yeah, and we have this innovation hygiene. So you ask me what's this hygiene? Yeah. It's running these innovation sprints on a regular basis. A while ago when we started, I was leading Basaful then. And of course, we were like a bunch of young people that have something, we're working on some stuff, right? But then first what we did was to make an internal hackathon.
Wait, well, just like the people might not know what is Busful. Like, would you recommend somebody to go there? Like, can you explain what it is?
I can tell. So it's a digital agency. It started in COVID, and for a digital agency in COVID, it was like a golden hour for us because everybody started to need websites, need web apps, graphical design, Google pages, SSL certificates, and something. We as students back then.
So this is, as for the students, one of the best opportunities here in the Baltics, where you have actually university course for business and technology, and you also, while you are studying, have opportunity to lead or work in actual digital agency, right?
Yeah, it was like that back then. Now,
It's not like that.
now they have evolved to my wishes. Now it's better, in my opinion, that for example, if you study in startup management in Ventspils, then you will be obliged and it will be mandatory to work on your business, because what's the best way to learn is learn by doing. So back then, several courses joined our agency, and they could do a bunch of stuff they like, but it had to be like technology entrepreneurial, right? You like to build websites, cool. You like graphical design, I like sales, right? I can help you do that. So you find ways to work on that business. And so then we founded Basaful, which means Business Academy Students Agency. That has to be useful. So it's
Oh, I didn't know what it means.
Yeah. Yeah, for us it was like that. And so we are a bunch of people, like 25, 27 at that time. And I notice a bunch, like a lot of struggle in like, I can't say it, environment, the culture of the company. So my solution was, okay, guys, we have Halloween hackathon. Hackathon is at 48 hours time span when you have to build something new and pitch it to others. But it would be internal hackathon. So we'll provide something like, I don't know, pizzas and drinks. I don't remember if the first one had, but anyway, we gathered there in some internal space. And for 48 hours, we built stuff, which afterwards the whole community is voting what's our next innovation. And so we did that in October, like about Halloween.
While you were studying, you already were inventing innovation sprints, basically.
Yeah. So why the innovation sprints look like that today, and I'll tell you about how it works, is because for all of these years, we did that in some or other sense, and they have just evolved. I've just cut off everything not needed and added a bunch of stuff which makes sense. So, for example, the design sprint, which is written in the book, it's boring and it's slow and it's lo-fi prototypes in the end. While this framework we do now is cool, and the clients come back and they tell us, hey guys, we're ready for the next round. And where this hygiene comes in is when you dedicate time for your company and you lock in. So, and we called it Bassathon. So we had a Bassathon, right? So we had a Bassathon about Halloween, about Valentine's Day, like a quarter past. Then not every year, and certainly not the first year, we had it about Easter, so like 3 quarters, and then we skipped the summer. Because in summer, people are, I don't know, vacations.
This is still university. We're talking about University of Applied Sciences in Ventspils.
Yeah.
So did this again, for listeners who didn't know, there is this special bachelor's program, right? It's like very unique comparing to here where we have some business schools. There's actually, you learn by doing, right?
Yeah.
And you actually came up with this innovation sprint, this what you're right now doing professionally with large enterprise corporations, right? So that's great. But let's go deeper in this direction, like the innovation sprint itself. Well, what is the inputs, outputs, basically, and why would not this be possible to do, or is it possible to do, like internally with some kind of, if there is a, like, you know, like the innovation manager or something like that?
It is possible, and I wish I wouldn't have to do my job like this. Yeah, I totally wish that you guys follow the instructions and do that yourselves. So
give the instructions.
Yeah.
How to do this.
Inputs are your department managers who are invested in the departments. So not the C-level guys. You have to have like business managers, which are typically second or third level managers. It depends on the company and the structure and hierarchy, who actually know about their stuff. They understand their business processes. So, for example, we have legal, marketing, product, IT, and sales, for example, 5 people. These 5 people is the best team to overview the whole stuff. So first of all, pain points. You ask all of your company, A quarter has passed. What do you hate about your job now? First of all, pain points. Second of all, you ask yourself in this team, how might we solve that? And if you can't find
I
a
think you're
solution,
missing something. I know for sure you asked that, but I just want to highlight it, the volume, because at least I think like you would not start thinking how to solve something before you qualify that need is kind of scalable, right? Or are you doing it the other way?
it's the sequence. It's
Okay.
it's a different sequence. So first of all, how might we solve that? And best if we have some data, right? If we have some data, we have it. If we do not, and in any case, if you are fluent with AI tools, you have these pain points. You have one prompt, and you have an output of table of 3 versions. How might we solve that exact problem? So you get a table. Then you have to vote for something, right? And how to prioritize all of this stuff, because you have a bunch of pain points. So next step is to map them. And we map in the innovation sprints, we map in 2 dimensions. So on x-axis, we put an impact, how impactful it is for the company. So stuff with the highest impact goes to the right, and with lowest impact goes to the left. And they are on one level of impact, because something is always more impactful to another one. And if you do not have data, this team of specialists of each of the department, they have to discuss this through, which has more impact. Okay, we got that one done. Then we have like a cross function of an y-axis, and this is effort. If it's high effort to do this stuff, it goes up. If it's low effort, it goes down. And then you have a map of 4 quadrants.
There's a problem.
Yeah.
We are talking about some kind of AI automation, right?
Not specifically.
Not specifically.
AI, it's a tool, and it's not like everybody needs to implement AI in their work.
So it's not about automation, it's just making you hate your job less, right? Make it more...
Yeah, innovation sprints are never thought to be about how to implement AI in my workflow. There are a bunch of people who will not lose jobs to AI, like a bunch of them, all of these, for example, animal skinners, or janitors or something. Those guys, they're safe. They are not crying around. Oh my God!
Janitors, that's discutable. But yeah, I know, I get your point. But I still, I was thinking to challenge you about this dimensions. So the impact, how much money it makes.
It depends. Maybe it's hours saved. Maybe it's something.
Sure.
Yeah, but
and then the effort. But then I was thinking that you might have something that happens, let's say, once in a year and have a huge impact. Let's have a huge effort, but then it doesn't maybe make a sense of...
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So in this map, you get 4 quadrants. And the priority is high impact, low effort. This is where you start. And what we do in the sprints, then we draw a line of a diagonal that first to third sector now, but yeah. Anyway, and all behind this line, which is lower than that, that is where you should look. All above it, for example, high impact, low effort, it's the priority, but the high effort, low impact is something that you will have to do with your, it's your job. You can't solve it right now. Maybe in half a year. And here comes okay.
No, I get it. This is interesting. I think there is a overlap of effort and volume. Like, I mean, if there is a low effort job, it probably could be that it is actually higher volume there. But I was just trying to challenge you, because I have also been working with the enterprises, and the one thing which I always identified is that the failed AI projects previously that we have seen, it is when somebody from the management says that I like this, let's do that, or there is a problem of that, let's do that, but they don't examine the volume.
That's why in innovation sprints, managerial people are out of the room, really. because it is how it is, and as you say, and those managers, they have to be out of the room because they are not the frontliners. They are not the real people who actually do the job. They have to look at the bigger picture, and they come in back into the innovation sprint.
I would challenge that again. Like well, from my experience, is that the more you involve the decision makers, they at the end.
Then listen to me to the end.
Right.
So okay, you've mapped it. Then you've voted on what this team is going to work on. Voting is like, for example, you have 3 votes, I have 3 votes, we have a bunch of cards, we can vote 3 votes on the same stuff, yeah, or something, but we vote on the map. Then we split those teams. For example, there are 6 teams of 5. Those guys, they work at the stuff they want to work at. For example, 2 teams may work at the same problem, and they will not have the same solution because they are different people. And all of this is about high fidelity prototyping. So day 2, they prototype. All right, day 1, they continue with mind mapping, then business process mapping. They have to understand business as is, business process as is, and business process to be, how you want it to be. And that is day 1. So day 2, they come back with, they have eaten, slept, they have driven back to the work, and they now review the business process maps they have looked at, and they need to build that to be. So they have to think, where's the data stored, how it happens there, who has accesses, does it need to have role-based access, how should it look, who are the end users, or are the customers and users or not, are they separated, right? And they have thought about this yesterday, so now they come to build. Then where AI comes in, we tell them new tools that they maybe didn't know yesterday, but now they are building tools like Windsurf Cursor, Lovable, I don't care, you name it, V0, something. So now their task is to build stuff fast and validate it. For the whole day, they're building stuff, and the second day
Still,
too.
You need to teach them quite a lot.
Yeah, and that's why we're there, because those people, with correct mentorship, they can do magical stuff. But for this kind of innovation,
have you seen people who just doesn't get it? Like you show how to make like, let's say, prompt to do some things, and this person just looks at it and is not able to execute.
Yeah, it happens for the one time once I tell them, but for the rest of the time I do not show them anything. I tell them to do stuff. So if a person comes with a problem to me, I with something for where to find an image creator that is free and photo realistic, my answer is, what did Perplexity say? So then if they come with a computer to me and they have the same problem, what's the realistic image generation for me to use in marketing materials when I have a prompt, but my Perplexity shows me only Midjourney something, and it's not right for me. Then I can tell them from knowledge that, okay, if you didn't find, their answer is, for example, Reeve AI, right? So you can go there.
That's actually the way how nowadays, if there would be a little bit an additional layer, would just not give answers out too freely, would be the modern education could look like that. You have like a teacher, right, or lecturer, and if anyone has any dumb questions, anything, they ask this AI system, and if the AI system is not able to handle, then they come to you, right?
Yeah. It makes total sense. So then, and they are very annoyed. They are very annoyed at me that I tell them to do stuff, right? But it's about them. So, all right, they build something.
Anytime somebody just say, okay, I will not do this, goodbye.
Yes, sometimes, but it happens when the managers want these people to be there, and I have specifically told them, you have to select people who want to be here, not who have to be here. Because if you do not want to make
in general, like if somebody just leaves this kind of educational opportunity, it kind of means that you're not tracking the beat. Basically, you will be out of business soon.
I don't judge, like people be people, right? So I'm there to help them. If they do not want to be helped with or do not see the case, right? It's yeah,
don't want
it
to
happens.
learn anymore.
It's not like it's not a popular like it doesn't happen frequently, but yeah, I've had these cases. So anyway, you've built something. Then you have to test it. And test is like, for example, hey, Evalds, see, I've built something like this. So this is a black box. It's like a transmitter to there for a microphone. See, it works like this. It has some buttons. Here, test it out. Tell me what you think of it. And here's a problem. You might not know how it works. You might not care how it works, or you might not need the product, or you might not like me, or you might even like me but be tired to answer. So testing with real people, calling and asking people about stuff, it takes a bunch of time, and you get like
It's the day 3, yeah, testing.
Yeah. It's like typically day end of the day 2 and day 3. It's a validation of stuff, and it's iteration, because with AI we can rebuild it so quickly. Yeah. So of course we always build something for people. Always. We're even making cat food for people to buy. That's why it's in pink, not in something else, right? We're always building something for people. So of course, in the end, you will have to test on real people, but till then, you can use synthetic users, like AI-generated users. When you describe your audience, when you describe their pains, needs, goals.
I've heard that the marketing agencies are now using these digital twins, so to say, to test if the copyright or the creative would work on certain
It totally makes
value.
sense. Because of course it's synthesized. It's not reliable. It's not. It has like knowledge cutoff, for example. But
no, if you give enough context and it might work pretty well, I think.
It does, but it's not reliable based on some specific events. For example, if you're making a marketing something for, I don't know, hockey team that just lost, and your input data was different, right? So
sure.
But then again, for products and some other stuff, it works wonder. So you cut down all your validation time using AI, so you do not have to spend so much talking to humans.
If you're talking about actual real prototypes, let's say created by Lovable, so then you would use operator to validate it, or how you would?
No, I would describe the functionality. I would use technical specification for it.
It could be done with operator.
It could be done, but I wouldn't rely on it. Yeah, yeah. Once that is done, the end of the innovation sprint is the demo days, is the 3-minute pitch to actual decision makers.
Oh.
Yeah. So that's the part where decision makers who paid me money.
There is a problem still, I think. So as you know, we are automating the phone contact centers. There is a lot of things you can automate with phone contact centers nowadays. And sometimes when we present this to the audience you described, they might feel threatened that their job will be somehow make more difficult, because basically all of this easy stuff is now completely automated, and now you will need to work much harder. And there is a little bit of resistance actually. And then the managers, the decision makers actually see through this. They immediately see, okay, I can cut half of staff, so I can see this is automated, and they would push this. But if you do the way you describe, it would never come to existence.
That's why I told you, you ask all of the people of the hierarchy, what do you hate about your job? In innovation sprints, you have managers or senior managers, but the C-level executives, the decision makers, they are like the last step.
So we kind of hope that those C-level managers would be more aligned with business needs rather than just sustaining status quo, right?
I hope that we live in this world, because there are companies, and in public sector we see this a lot, where where high-level managers do not care about business case.
I know.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. So, but anyways, I like innovation sprints. It's just I kind of feel that there might be even something more there.
Yeah, sure, of course. And I've always told that if you do not get it, it's fine. But if you do not feel threatened by market changes, like on daily basis, well, au revoir. See you in other business, right? Because people who get it, they will come get you. It doesn't matter how big you are. Remember Nokia?
I was there recently,
Yeah.
literally like
And
last week.
and they had to pivot because for a while they believed that, hey, no, we will have our niche, right? Just for a while, just a little belief that they are big enough, because I truly believe that my grandchildren will not know what an iPhone is.
Yeah,
Highly probable.
most likely. The Nokia is like the hard case. I mean, now they're trying to find ways to get back up there, but
And they're doing well. They're doing well in 5G. They're doing well.
exactly. They're doing the
They're a profitable
infrastructure.
company. They're just not B2C anymore.
Yeah, just not the cool stuff anymore.
Yeah.
They tried actually cool stuff. They tried drone in a box where basically you can buy some kind of AI-driven drone, but it is if it's an enterprise, it's difficult to get in the market. But they are still trying. But again, what you said, stopped this basically, I guess, this innovation, right?
And innovation is always about risking stuff, about risking your ass, about risking your budget, about risking.
Like this is something I feel so much like there's always this, business wants to make more money, save money, but at the same time they don't like. At some point they start not making risk anymore. So it's kind of weird. Like if you have like a larger organization, you could actually have a little bit more risk. You have a pillow, right? But they still, like, at that moment they don't want to
and
do
that's
risk.
a managerial decision. That's a top-down decision, obviously. What I can't say what a wise man would do or something. I haven't led like Apple or something, but those guys, they have a budget. They have a budget for a bunch of crazy stuff. Like Coca-Cola has 60% on marketing budget that works, 30% on interesting ideas that like are risky, and 10% at wild ideas. Like those 10% were how they stole Christmas with their Christmas trucks and Christmas Santa and like
Coca-Cola Santa.
back in 88 or something, 92. But I read that. I don't remember. So then they came up with this. What's the most crazy stuff we can do about it in marketing sense? And they stole Christmas. And now we're like. We know the song, we know the jingle bells, then we know the colors, we know the Dark Knight and Coke trucks. Like,
so you have a specific type of company that works the best for the innovation sprints.
The specific type of company is people who care about their business. It really, because it doesn't matter if it's a startup or if it's a large company, because we worked with the large companies who care about the business, and they did great. They did awesome. They brought people from 4 countries to Riga for 3 days, and they all went through, and they did awesome. Then again, we've worked with small companies with managers who push their agenda, and the innovation sprint was. I didn't enjoy that, and I remember it. It was bad. And if I could give the money back and never remember that stuff, I would do that. it was time wasted.
But is there lasting effects? Like, can you share some cases where you have followed up or maybe run the second sprint or third?
Yeah. So for second sprints, only a few companies have done through that, and only one solution was reiterated, and it wasn't on the market. Then for a larger organization,
Can you give an example? What was it?
It was standard pricing calculation stuff. For example, it's a larger organization that
You need to quote services or goods, right?
Services.
Okay.
Services. Yeah, that does a bunch of stuff, digital, physical, and etc. But for example, the pain point I remember from a year ago was when a potential customer asks how much would it cost for us to get a cable of this much electricity and internet from there to there, from Riga to somewhere in Latgale. they have a bunch of different departments about one cable, about another, about the like those points in between, who cuts the line, etc. So the project managers would create this budget for standard stuff that they have pricing on per kilometer or something, about working hours, etc. In 2 weeks minimum. And so that was the reiterative stuff that I guess that was the one that circulated through several sprints, because they made a prototype that worked for one business domain, and then they, I guess, if I remember correctly, they reiterated to create a better tool for another one. Then again, other teams on the second sprint tackled different other stuff because there was a different need, because a half year was passed. And every half year you have totally different needs.
I think like for your Helva services, I myself know that when we work with some enterprises, this some kind of seminars where we educate them for basics, then where we can also come in with our custom solutions or our products. Is that something that could be repeated even on monthly basis or bi-monthly basis? Because it is kind of really like it's not possible to learn in a couple of days fully. You need to keep doing it, learn the new stuff, and until it becomes the second nature, right?
Yeah. And that's what I tell, like, so in Innovation Sprint Day 3, we have a feedback session, etc. And then I tell these companies how to, like, what do you do next? What are the next steps to implement? And one rage chill company that I had to work with, it's in public sector, was with the least involved executives, because of all the people who were invited to the demo days, one dude came and was sitting in his phone like this. And I was like, hey dude, you do not do like that. I'm not sure how you run this stuff, but if I were you, I would be here involved, because you paid us a lot of money and you do not care about it at all. Anyway, for those people who cared about, one solution out of 3 was selected, and they understood that their first thought that was that they have to create technical specifications because they have to buy stuff because they're a public company. But through the innovation sprint, they understood that with their resources at this right moment and their needs, they can build stuff themselves. And this guy who was participating and leading the team, we followed up with each other for a while. He asked me about stuff during winter. I told him about Cursor. I told him about how to like he was asking about AI Foundry, I guess. Anyway, it doesn't matter much. And now, like last week, we connected somehow, and he told me that he was promoted to AI agents builder, and he's like building agents for each department based on their needs, because they understood that they can do it and they have the skills inside. So they found talent during innovation sprint, and they do not have to think in large
measure any because listeners, company decision makers who like to do these things. There should be some kind of business case. Like, I mean, do you have any numbers where you can show that, like, after this innovation sprint, we optimized some processes like 10% more efficient, like more cash?
The easy answer is no, because I don't want to lie to you, because I do not have hard data. We ask this stuff, and for some example where during an innovation sprint, AI wasn't involved in the solution, like it was involved in the solution process, but so for one company, they have a sales cycle and then a reporting cycle. So reports about sales. Sales are done by a bunch of people, but the reporting is done by one lady. What they do is once the sale happens, they have input of their name, surname, and some data about it, and they have a single table for it. They do not input all of the data because of the company policy that different sales agents can't see how well do others do. And then this lady at the end of the month has to digitalize that stuff, then split for each agent to give more data, more accurate data about the sales that were done, how many times was it presented, etc. Then about pitches, about travel, blah blah blah. Then she gathers it back, puts it together in that month's master report sheet, and then makes reports. And when I was listening to that, and I questioned her. For example, today it was...
You automate that lady completely?
I automated her. Like, I told her to automate this stuff because it wasn't her main job. She was like finance counter something, but this was what she had to do once a month.
She had one person automated, so that's good.
One job, yeah. And I asked her, for example, if I was your sales agent. So today I went to dentist, today I made sales. Tomorrow on Friday I went to dentist. Then we have May 1st, which is a holiday in Latvia. Then I would take 2 days off. Then we have May 4th, which is a holiday in Latvia. Then another day off. Then that week I skip and something. And then I come back on something, I don't know, May 14th, back to my job. You have sent me an email with some Excel I have to fill in, with some spreadsheet data I have to fill in. And first of all, I do not remember about all of my sales in April, how many square meters, how many times I went there, etc. And how frequent is this stuff? And she says, every fucking month I have somebody that is not giving me all the data, etc. I ask her, how would it be if they gave you all of the data at the same time? And she told me they can't see the spreadsheet, etc. I told her, okay, but if they could, but they do not have computers, maybe they're in taxis. And I told her, how cool would it be if they could give it through your phone? She said, yeah, that would be awesome. But what about data? Where would it be stored? I asked her, where is it stored now? She says, Google spreadsheets. I said, okay, it would be stored in Google spreadsheets. How wonderful would it be if you made your report once and you would never want to do it again because it's done there and you can just filter it out? She would say, that how does that work? It's awesome. And I told her, build a Google form. Build a Google form. You do not have to have AI in this process at all. Build a Google form. It stores all the clean data in your master spreadsheet. If you are the only one who needs access, you are the only one who needs access. But that one is hooked with Data Looker, which is a BI instrument by Google. And it's easy. You just click on what stuff you want to see and you have a report for it. And you can...
So you basically, you're not like this, just AI only, you will find the right tool, whatever, regardless.
Yeah, because she told me, I can't do it. I've never done it. And I told her, your boss just bought you GPT. It will tell you. And the wonderful stuff is, because she was like older than both of us, and you know, with time people get comfortable in what they know and what they wish to do. So there was like the same, that she wasn't really prepared to learn about making Google Forms, but it's an innovation sprint. What can go wrong, right? So she made it, and she told me, all right, I made it. What's next? I say, now you go to your colleagues, to those guys, and validate it. Tell them how would it be if we use that. So they went. She came back. She validated it. They told me that I have to swap this and that, but now I have to make this BI, like a report, right? I do not remember how it looked and if she made it to the end, but what I remember is that she told me on the feedback session that thank you very much. We are implementing this on May, starting of May. So this is the last month she's doing the stuff. So this is the quickest change management I've seen for a larger change, because everybody liked it and it came through like 2 days of asking her questions. Who needs the reports? Blah blah blah. I know the answers, but I have to ask those questions from the specialist, so they tell me like to a child, so they remember how their business process work. And why I tell you all of this stuff, because I asked her, how would you estimate the savings? And she said, I can't estimate. It's what a part of my a part of my salary, a part of their salary, how much time it takes. I like, okay, how much time you would estimate? You have like 40 people that do sales. You have your time and you have waiting time. She says, I don't know, 140, 160 hours a month. Like when you sum this up, it's a lot. And if 160 hours a month is actually one FTE.
To do this, you should have quite deep understanding not only on AI tools, but in general, all of tools that could be useful for business, like automation or making just to hate your job less, right? And you've been known doing all sorts of experimentation projects, like the generated audio, the music, right? Like the generated, not generated, but detecting which celebrity you look like. Yeah,
like it's face mapping. It doesn't matter what we hook up with that, which database, but it's just mapping my face. And
sure, I know. Like this has been used also in like security products, but then also you created recently a startup radar project, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that got some traction here in the Eastern Europe. So maybe which of these projects or some other projects you like the most? Maybe if you can share the story of some of those.
I do not have a favorite one. The Startup Radar is the most recent one. I was a merely brain of it. We have a muscle. We have a muscle who actually built it, and I was like guiding and steering the ship.
It's not fully made by AI, yeah?
No, it's not fully made by me.
Oh,
yeah, because it was a team of people. For Startup Radar, you have to gather actual data because it wasn't there, and without our ladies, we wouldn't have it. With my knowledge and like I don't know, like remembering how to build stuff and some guidance. I can call him a dear friend now, Toms. He actually listened to me somewhere and build upon my knowledge, because my knowledge is like outdated. I've worked with like old, like I remember the old systems, right? And he was interested in that, so he was building better stuff that I could imagine. So I gave like seeds of thoughts. He understood that.
It was an interesting thing. So those who don't know, the Startup Radar, as I understand, is able to classify companies, startups by some categories, and then you show the actual numbers from tax revenue agency. And the one interesting thing is that you sort by default by the amounts of taxes paid, because it's kind of so if I could challenge you on that, like if we have AI, right, we'll have less taxes paid, but we will have higher turnovers and so on. Maybe you should change the way you order it default.
If you want to see, first of all, for you as a user, that's one click. Yeah, right. So because it's interactive, and best about Startup Radar, it's fully automated. Besides your suggestions. If you suggest something, it's not like I can go and suggest something about your company and tell bad stuff and it would automatically be there. So this is like a human input, and it will stay like that for a while. But about data structure, you can suggest stuff. If people like it, why not? We do not care which column is sorted first, right? Because it just came up to like somehow, somewhen.
What is the end user? What is like a competition, or what it is?
The end user, where it started, because it's not our idea at all. Where it started was a pain point of journalists. It was paid, but nobody knew how many startups we have in Latvia, and who counted, because the existing database at that time was outdated for a few years. And so there was this request. And
what Startup Association does then, if they don't know?
They didn't have resource, and we didn't know that they have been thinking about it, because after we built it and we were actually telling them, hey, we built this, They were like, but we are building it. I'm like, but okay, we didn't know. So the thing is, maybe they do not have to build it anymore. They have to go through ours and tell us these are not there. Like these are too old, I don't know, something, right? Because
how you identify who is startup and who is not startup?
How we identify?
Yeah.
I wasn't a part of the process, but on the methodology page it says that this and that scalable business, blah blah blah, something not older than 10 years with some exceptions. And there are literally like 5 or 6 exceptions which are like 11 years old or something, but really are still can be scaled and done. Like yesterday, Ironus, there was news that Ironus 60 something, yeah, 64 millions. They can build, they can scale, and they can do stuff. And even if you're 11 years old, you can be there, right?
Yeah, printful, right? Or something.
Yeah. Because those are also since 2013, 14, something. Yeah. Because so they are also like 12 years old, but they're still there. They can still grow. They can still become more global as they are now, and so yeah, they're there. But
so you said journalist, right? Any other reason?
From pain points, maybe venture capitalists. For you as startup
Well, from other side, like I like the venture capitalist angle, like there's like hard number that you cannot dispute. So and in the pitch deck startups, there is all sorts of numbers. So at least there is one ground truth there.
For me, it was all about accurate data. As much accurate data as we can get, only that is there. There is no human input besides tags. Because people asked for tags to be there, for example, education technology, AI tech, blah, 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 that stuff, e-commerce, those tags are human written.
How do you choose the tools you make a focus on? Because there is a website, there's an AI for that.
Yeah.
There's literally 10,000 tools. Probably you're not spending time of investigating every single tool. Like how are you, what is your method of choosing what to learn more and what less?
You know, people go to gym to train their body. So I go to internet to train my mind. So for me, it's like maybe even daily routine that I read Arxiv, Alpha Arxiv, if there's something new about stuff, if it catches.
This is very scientific.
But I care about it. Like if there's something interesting for me, for example, like dynamic context window. I'm like, okay, what's that, right? And now I know that we have technology to build unlimited movies. We haven't done it yet because nobody spends that much money to build.
Well, just from my side, as being also a scientist, be careful about stuff because the scientists like to make stuff up as well.
They like to use ChatGPT, yeah.
No, not only ChatGPT, even the you can frame any problem, you can frame any data set in a way that you would have great results.
Statistics do not lie, but people lie using statistics, yeah.
Yeah, you can, there was like a couple of years ago, I remember it was called P-hacking in one of these great hacking conferences, CCC. Like there was a guy who was showing that medical journals are really unreliable all the time because they with these groups of selections of patients and so on, they do all sorts of shady stuff. Probably not everybody, but they're a significant part of that. So in the computer science, I can assure you as well, like even these benchmarks with LLMs, right?
Yeah. It's not the thing. For benchmarking, we are over 2 years past that benchmarks mean nothing. They just take up space that you scroll down faster. It doesn't. I don't care. I don't care. I care about. So yeah, one is that. So it's like a daily basis. Like other guys read news, I read news in a different sense. If there's something interesting, I read through. Then, when I find a tool that. Okay, Product Hunt, Runway, Rundown, I forgot how it's called. A few newsletters, Product Hunt newsletter, etc. And if it catches my eye, if it makes sense to me as it would solve a business problem, then I would try the tool. and I'm not like logging in and trying it once. I'm trying to implement it somehow in.
It takes so much time. Like
It doesn't take so much time when you're trained.
It depends on the tool.
It's like if you're athletic in one sport, you're athletic and you can swap through sports, and it doesn't take you that much time to pick up the pace.
So
right?
just gonna give you a little bit of context. We've been working with large telecoms, financial, government, medical organizations with the contact centers, and one of the part is the omni-channel, also emails. And I can assure you that, like from my experience, our experience is that on our platform, Eld, again, if you would do it in the way that you describe, like I would see that you would not be able to get the best result out of it, and you might have misleading output because so basically you would need to find all of the topics that they're having in the emails, right? You need to find the right sources for all of these topics. You need to configure the way how you want to format all of the integrations and outputs and inputs. And like if you do it right, then it's actually being able to automate up to say 60% of emails. So just press done and that's it. But to set it up, it usually takes quite a little pain. So, and how do you know that you master the tool if it takes so much time?
You asked how I pick up, how I pick the tools. You were talking about reliability. I'm talking about capability. And when something pops up in my mind, for example, for a week and a half, I do not have ChatGPT as a tool anymore. Now I'm setting up my Claude again. So Claude is having a refresh time, and I use Altair, which is a macOS tool, which enables me to work with context on any of my windows. Like open tabs on my MacBook. It isn't available on Windows. It was written only for Swift, and it's only for MacBooks. So if you believe that you are a power user of your MacBook, then you can use it. It's a great tool where I can select any open source, any paid, any other.
Question was so the one is where you find the tools. The other thing is
how you pick and which to use.
You need to get to some level to add it to your toolbox, right?
Yeah.
But to get to that level,
you play, and if you like it better, then you swap. Because first I found Cursor, then I found Windsurf. I played with Windsurf. Then I looked at the pricing model and I went with Cursor because they're very similar. Then we have a bunch of other IDEs, which I do not even look at, because if Cursor doesn't have it now, maybe in a week there's an update that it has. So I'm becoming lazy on this part. But all of my toolbox changes come from pain points.
You discover some pain points in innovation sprints, and then you're actively looking for the tool.
In my brain, I just ask myself, what do I hate about this tool? It's like an iterative cycle process where it all starts with what do I hate about it?
Yeah, there's something about it. Like it seems that to be able to experiment like this, these tools should be really easy to start to use.
See,
they have this capability aspect, but they might not have the reliability aspect.
Yeah, exactly. And this is what you tell about. You work with. I love like how Agatha Humboldt was comparing companies to ships. So for a big ship to steer, it takes a long time, because we have drafts, we have something, and while a speedboat is very maneuverable. So if your company is still a speedboat, or maybe a yacht that it's like for, I don't know, 300 people, you can still make like agile changes, and you can have this agile environments, or at least one department who is responsible to test out and bring the knowledge of tools, etc., to others. But if all of your company is a large ship of thousands of people, like cruise ship, then you have to make calculated decisions, and you have to. It's a slower process. And in that case, you can run these innovation sprints every week for every different department and do that whole year round like a merry-go-round.
What you're talking about, it is adding capabilities, sometimes even in a reliable way. But the more advanced solutions become, there is a threshold where threshold where you would like to maybe move to the next level and make this reliable tool, and then it would require something extra, right?
Yeah. But it highly depends on the problem. I always tell people not to over-engineer stuff. Keep it simple, stupid.
Yeah.
It has to be in a KISS format. Keep it simple. For every business process, we have to have a solution. We can automate it. We can make ourselves a decision maker. We can have a great UI which is voice infused or something. We can talk to our computers, not type, which enables people who are disabled for one hand or like both hands, but they can speak clearly. They can use it and be a great colleague, right? So it's so many layers of what jobs are to be done by whom and what tools, but it always comes from a business problem. So if you come from a perspective, oh, what a great product now for my whole team of 500 engineers, of 15 teams, and so many product managers, etc., we will swap IDE from VS Code to Cursor and I don't know, the documentation tool from Confluence to Notion in one day. It doesn't happen like that. It's chaos. It's not like worth it. So and that is what you said previously. My knowledge span has to be quite vast to help those people who are working with systems which I touch less
So
than.
more general tools, basically.
Yeah. I
So
just have to know.
what kind of other general tools you could suggest that everybody should know apart from the Claude, the Gemini, the ChatGPT? Is there something like as you say, a general tool which you don't need to do the software programming, but could be useful for people? Do you know things of that sort?
The most general tool that I hear about is Copilot. My wish.
Microsoft Copilot.
Yeah. I really wish those people who tell me that we are obliged to use Copilot, we can't use anything else, to be capable of differentiating what is their Copilot. Is it copilot.microsoft.com web version? Or is it Copilot Studio, which is found on AI Foundry, and they can build Copilots like Eldigan agents, which can be accessed through Microsoft Teams? What Copilot are you?
There's
or GitHub
also
Copilot.
Copilot in PowerPoint or
Exactly, which is Copilot for Microsoft 365. All of them are Copilots, and when they
not the best
tell me
naming of things.
there's only one company that I really like how they name their models. It's Anthropic. So they have Haiku, Sonnet, Claude, and Opus. Haiku, which is like Japanese poetry of 3 lines, is the smallest model. It's like a small part. Sonnet is like, I don't know how large is a sonnet, right? But it's a literature.
Yeah, and then they have the numbers like 3.5, 3.7.
Yeah, but
it makes sense. It makes
of course.
So like you said, from haiku till the opus, you have different lengths, you have numbers.
Yeah.
So and this is completely different to everything that Microsoft owns. Like ChatGPT, you probably also like how many times needs to people to explain which each like. Oh, is the 4 is the better model than 3 right?
Yeah, but I explained them. So I explained them on basis levels.
No, you mean that's the point I was trying to.
Yeah.
You was trying to make, like the naming and the way how you present things. This is kind of just unfortunately with Microsoft and now OpenAI very difficult to grasp. But you can learn, right?
Yeah, but you're not obliged. Like for a calculator, You have to learn how to use parentheses. You have to learn that multiplication comes before sum, and and then you can use and maybe sinus function, cosinus function on calculator, and then you're a power user of calculator. And you do not have to know what's under the hood, how the electrons are jumping on the motherboard. So if you really want to know that, then you can call yourself a scientist, like you are, because you know how maths is structured and how you actually watch the losses column.
No, but there is one important thing. Like again, you mentioned these namings and things are just for the listeners to know. If you use ChatGPT, you should educate a little bit yourself which model use for which use case. For example, if you have like spreadsheets, then you would definitely use GPT 4.5, but you would definitely not use O3. So if you have basically, because the GPT 4.5 has the tool to generate Python code, which O3 doesn't have. So an O3 would be great for text tasks, and then other models.
Also, not really. I can. I'm the guy who's reading the documentation, right? And I call them stupid models and thinking models. So stupid models, like
some of the stupid models have some tools like image generation,
exactly,
code generation.
Those are the stupid models.
But not everyone. There is again difference.
Of course, but here's like OpenAI models, which are not this stupid token deliverers, are reasoning models. Like all of those O1, O2, O3, O4. Those previews, minis, etc. Those are reasoning models. They have to think, and there you never want to input things step by step. I will give you money if you get this correctly. This is very important for me. You are this and that. You are the lead of marketing team. Blah blah blah. You do not do that.
Sure.
And it's written in the documentation. You keep it.
You say that you read the documentation. People should maybe read a little bit what they are using.
Yeah. But it's like. You get like a, I don't know, chair or a sofa from IKEA. You can try to build it yourself, and eventually you'll get there, right? But you can read the manual and it will work, right? But those reasoning models, I typically tell people that I work with, just leave them alone. They are great for chemists, biologists, mathematicians. They are great for doing some specific tasks.
They are also great for doing the like, let's say, some kind of business analytics. And stuff like that.
Sure. But for your typical everyday usage, you would use 4.0 because it's an omni model. Omni stays for different inputs.
Modalities.
Image, video, audio, etc. And they have tools like Python, image generation, etc. You can use web search on it. With 4.5, you also get all of this stuff. And
I admit, when I usually throw out manuals for the products, and my wife reads them very carefully, but I kind of maybe over reliant on my knowledge about the maths, how these models work, even though probably they in these huge systems are a little bit different than in publications. But what is the difference in documentation from 4.0 and 4.5?
Like almost everything.
Can you give examples, like what is better in 4.5?
There are much less things that it's not capable of doing, because in the documentation, the part I love to read the most is what can't this do, or what isn't it reliable about. Because you've mentioned that question, have your GPT already substituted your doctor, right? So for me, it did back then. With the first versions of Claude. But with what is interesting is on documentation of 4.5, there were only like 5 bullet points. I don't remember them all, but the first was about medical stuff that they aren't...
don't recommend using.
Yeah. And,
sure.
and they just tell, we aren't there yet. It was a great joke we had a while ago about centaurs. So... few months ago, CEO of Midjourney or somebody at Midjourney, they had a webinar, and we were listening, and they told, here is the new version of Midjourney. We are better, greater at everything except centaurs. We can't do centaurs. And like a centaur, man, horse,
Yeah.
and it just can't do it.
Probably there's something more than that, but the great that they list. This is something
Yeah.
I like that you highlight. I think many people might not pay attention to this, but all of these AI tools have some limitations, and one way to discover it is just read the manual.
Yeah.
But can you share more of the limitations, maybe in other domains as well, like as you say, image, audio, video, some that are not as obvious to people from your experience, even in the code generation, maybe that they think, is it possible to just drop in the, let's say, the lovable, the project documentation and just get in one go the whole stuff? Or...
Yeah, you can. Only that you wouldn't get it fully functional unless you write all of it down. So what Lovable would do, or any of these generations like Firebase or something, they would not generate pictures for you. You would have to do that manually. You would have to link some buttons if you do not, if you haven't wrote them specifically, if you haven't had written that this button leads to that, and if the architecture is sloppy.
Let's do some shorter questions, more fun questions towards the end. So the Bill Gates recently in an interview said that he believes that soon we'll end up with 2-day work weeks because of AI. Or would you agree on that? Or will we go to the stars and do 10x more and there will be even more work for us to do?
I believe that it depends on people. If you want to do, you can do it. That's what you said. Igors is at Helves, ja šmija, biedrība, šmiedrība. Like, yeah, we do a bunch of stuff, and you can just do more if you want to do more. And
if you want, you can go to stars. If you
exactly,
want to take a rest, you can take a rest.
And while we have a like official 5-day work week, those people who can do quick, like their job quickly, they will have more time to do other stuff. If you are not taking up AI and want to do it in the old way, most probably you will be laid off from private sector and you will find some job in public sector.
Public sector, that's good. Human or AI generate music?
Depends on the task. If, for example, if you run a business which is a restaurant, and nobody cares who sings the song or who plays the piano, but piano is just playing somewhere in the background. It can be AI generated. But when you go to a concert, when you want to see the artist.
So you like both?
Yeah, it's based on...
In what celebrity voice should your AI assistant talk?
My AI assistant, if it's not... Yeah, Johnny Depp or Johnny Sins, I'm not sure yet, but either or.
Pirate,
either pirate or Johnny Sins, who can be anybody. He can be anybody.
That would be fun. So, which emoji describes the best how you feel about AI nowadays?
You know those praying emojis? That one? That's me. Like, I don't care if it's a high five or it's a praying emoji. That's the one.
What's the strangest prompt you ever tried in AI?
11 symbols, God mode, jailbreak for Claude.
Oh, that's so complicated. Did it work?
Yeah.
What's the funniest auto or correct that you've seen AI trying to apply to what you're doing?
I'm not even sure. When in my workflow I start seeing hallucinations, I just reset the process. I don't care anymore.
Yeah, you're smart in that way. There's some people who keep going. Have you ever asked AI to fix something in your house or physical, and how it worked?
I haven't actually, but I've seen how people do it, because on your ChatGPT applications in your phone, you can select camera and you can go to video mode. So you can talk to this like, hey, my pipes are leaking in my kitchen. What do I do? Or for example, I have to check my oil in my car. Woman asks, how do I do that? And it tells you.
Would you be comfortable of trusting your AI, your bank account details?
Much more than people.
Have you ever been criticized by or shamed by AI?
Actually, yes. I can share the prompts. It's very close to like top 3 of bizarre prompts. Top 1 is God mode in 11 symbols, a jailbreak. Then the other 2 are based on all the history we've talked about. Describe my psycho something something, and then it's like a multi-shot. So it answers something. Then you like pseudo jailbreak it for more honest answers. It answers something else, but the kill shot is the third prompt when you get like a truth bomb. If you've used your chat GPT, for example, for at least a year, it comes up with so much truth about how what a person you are, and it's like, wow. It's much better than zodiac horoscope stuff. Like I tell you, it shames me. It tells about if I gave that profile for you to read, you read it and yeah, it sounds like you.
You're
And
kind of like ruin your day.
make you think. These prompts are not for your late night insomnia. Like really.
Thank you for joining. It was a pleasure to meet you. Where people can find you?
On LinkedIn, Igors Uhaņs.
LinkedIn, Igors Uhaņs, Helve, Innovation Sprints. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for joining this podcast. As a gratitude for our work, subscribe, like, share, and see you in the next one.